So today we got a question from a bro who wants to know, yo, Elliot, how do I shrink the belly and get flat abs after 40? Great question, bro. But before we go, you ought to know my name. It's Elliot Hulse. I'm a strong man, strength coach. I've been making men strong here on YouTube since 2007, and you, my friend, just stumbled upon your new favorite fitness YouTube channel for men over 40. And if you're sick and tired of being fat and nasty, and you want to get jacked and lean for the second half of your life, consider working one-on-one with old Uncle Yo by clicking the link down below or going to alphaschool.ai. Great. So the question simply is, Elliot, how do I shrink this big belly? And if you know, there are certain guys who got like big belly and almost seems like there's no fat on top, right? It's all visceral fat. It's fat on the inside. So there are a few different ways I want to approach this, but the main thing I want to point out is that it's not just about the fat loss in terms of flattening your belly, although that's very important. But if you got that subcutaneous fat, that jiggly fat, that fat's on the outside, you can lose that fat and still have a protruding belly, right? So you got two types of guys. You got the guys with the fat on the inside, visceral fat, that's pushing them out and they're like tight on the outside. And you got guys that got the jiggly fat, the subcutaneous fat, right? Either way, we want to flatten the abs. And in both cases, there's usually a deeper problem than just the fat, whether it be on the outside or on the inside. It's the musculature of the abdominals that have gone to sleep. Previous videos, I talked about motor sensory amnesia. The main muscle, many of your muscles will go to sleep if they're not used properly. But the main muscles that really go to sleep very quickly are your abdominal muscles. In most people, the abdominal muscles are completely dysfunctional. They just don't turn on. They don't know how to use them. Even if some guys have like really strong rectus abdominis, outside muscles. You ever see these guys like bodybuilders? They've got the rectus abdominis, meaning like the six-pack ab muscles, but their belly is still big. And I'm not just talking about the guys that are using HGH or growth hormone and it's making their organs bigger. Although, it's similar. Right? They got the big muscles on the outside, but the belly's still big. The belly's still big. The belly still protrudes because the deep stabilizer muscles of the abdominals, the deep pelvic stabilizers, your transversus abdominis, pelvic floor, internal obliques are completely asleep. And the reason why is because there is inflammation on the inside. There's inflammation on the inside. And so what ends up happening is because our body is a unit, it all works together. It's a holistic system, right? We're not just parts that are stuck together that work independently. The nervous system ties everything together. Your nervous system ties everything together. One of the ways that you know that your nervous system ties everything together and acts in strange ways is like they say that if you're going to have a heart attack, like there's something with your heart that's going on, your left arm goes numb. Or I think people like their face, like their left face will start to go numb, right? When they have heart problems, right? Like why would that be? Especially the left arm, right? Tingling in the left arm goes numb. What the hell does my arm have to do with my heart? It's because your heart and your left arm are on the same neurological loop, right? You could just imagine like Christmas tree lights. When you have a string of Christmas tree lights, they're on the same neurological loop, the same energy loop. If one light pops, your whole string goes out. So now you got to think about in terms of your body, like a popping of a Christmas tree light is kind of like inflammation in an organ. If you have inflammation in your heart or your heart is malfunctioning, then the rest of the string on that loop is going to shut off. That's why the left arm goes numb. Same thing in here, only more so because everything you put in your mouth goes where? Into your gut, your colon, in order to pass out. And so many of the foods that we're eating and things that we drink create inflammation in the gut lining, in the colon. In fact, there's most people have some form of chronic inflammation in the colon, either due to eating foods that irritate the gut lining, like too many foods that have oxalates. These are like literally like too many raw vegetables. Like a lot of guys, they think, I need to eat a whole lot of raw vegetables. Cooked vegetables are better because it breaks down a lot of the hard to digest proteins in there and fibers. But if you're eating a lot of raw vegetables or raw nuts, right? they're almost like shards of glass that go in and irritate the gut lining. And what happens when you irritate the gut lining? The muscles that are in the same neurological loop shut off: transversus abdominis, pelvic floor. That's why you feel bloated a lot of times, right? There's inflammation, and that can cause inflammation, which is the bloated feeling. And then the muscles relax, and then they protrude. Or when a woman's having her period, there's a buildup in there that's causing the belly to look and feel a lot bigger. But a big part of the reason why the belly protrudes when a woman's having her period is because of the inflammation that creates inhibition in the muscles that would stabilize her pelvic floor. And women deal with this a lot more. That's why they pee themselves, right? They have a wider pelvic fossa. And so the muscles, if they're weak or they're inhibited because of inflammation due to female things, their belly protrudes. That's why a lot of women have like a pouch, right? They have the pouch down below. We get that for a little different reasons, mostly due to the foods that we're eating. If you're a beer drinker, right? If you're eating gluten and you're intolerant to it, like I mentioned also, a lot of vegetables, a lot of grains, a lot of nuts. For the most part, meat won't do that to you. Meat won't do that to you. Your body actually breaks down and digests and utilizes meat much more efficiently than almost anything except white sugar. That starts breaking down right in your mouth. But that also gives you like a narcotic type effect, like a drug type effect. Like you get a high and then you crash. So it'll fuck up your hormones in other ways. But for the most part, very few people get inflammation from eating meat. It can happen, but especially like whole meat. I'm not talking about processed meat like bologna and shit like that. But for the most part, if you're eating anything that causes inflammation in the gut, or you're participating in any kind of activities that cause inflammation in the gut, or you're drinking water, you're drinking stuff, inflammation, the gut is just so sensitive. It's so damn sensitive because it's sort of like an inside part, right? Like it's exposed to the outside. Like your heart isn't necessarily exposed to the outside, except for maybe like what ends up in your blood, which passes through the colon, right? And so, that creates a whole slew of other problems, joint problems. And anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole. But your inside, your alimentary canal is almost like your outside because the environment goes in there. And as it goes in, and then your body's got to deal with it, it can create that reciprocal inhibition where the colon shuts off and then, the colon is inflamed and then the muscles shut off. And so you could be crunching your face off. You could be doing all kinds of, external oblique and rectus abdominis exercises, but still have a protruding belly. So the best thing to do is, eliminate foods and medication and anything that causes inflammation in your gut. And then you need to practice vacuuming and planks, right? So a tummy vacuum, and I'm not gonna demonstrate or, I'm just shooting from the hip here, but you need to do tummy vacuums. You need to do lower abdominal bracing exercises, like Paul Chek teaches, lower abdominal A, lower abdominal B. There's just different exercises that I teach my clients. I show my clients how to do when I help them do it. But they're very technical and they require precision. They need focus and they need coaching. You need somebody to help you do that. But if that's not the case for you, if you're not working with old Uncle Yo, then you got to do it on your own, which is fine. Lower abdominal exercises that include drawing the belly in, creating vacuuming, right? So if you're doing leg raises, right? Stuff like that, draw the belly in. Don't crunch it. It's not a crunch. There is such thing as a reverse crunch, but you're not reverse crunching. You're stabilizing the pelvic floor by drawing the belly in and then coordinating it with your hip flexors by moving your legs. That's the way that exercise is actually done. Or you can do planks. Planks are pretty good. A lot of people get planks screwed up also. Planks, in hollow bodies, but the hollow body needs to be done in such a way that you're drawing in because the transversus abdominis and the muscles that stabilize the pelvic floor are activated by drawing in, sucking in, right? Like if you got to poop, right? You got to poop and you pull your anus up, now you're activating your pelvic floor. That's one of those muscles that tend to have, kind of go to sleep. But as you activate your pelvic floor by pulling your anus up, like I'm doing it myself right now, and then almost automatically when you do that, your belly goes in. Notice, wherever you are, stand up, pull your anus up, pull your pelvic floor up, right? And then all of a sudden you'll feel like your belly's pulling in. So you want to do those two together. In yoga, they call it a root lock. Belly button down and in, and anus up and in. Boom. And once you create that lock, then you can do your exercises from there, and you're really stimulating those muscles that flatten your abs, don't just give you big, bulky six-pack abs on the outside. So that's it. That's all. Hope that helps, dude. Done.